Aesop's Fable EP42, The Wise Owl and the Gift of Guidance. Scene 1, The Owl of the Great Oak. In the heart of a vast and ancient forest, there stood a mighty oak tree that had weathered countless seasons. Atop its highest branch lived an owl named Oliver. Oliver was known throughout the forest for his wisdom and calm demeanor. His keen eyes and thoughtful nature made him the perfect counselor for the animals who often sought his advice. Oliver had lived in the forest for many years and had seen and experienced much. Whenever the animals faced challenges, whether big or small, they would visit Oliver, knowing that his guidance would help them find the right path. He was always willing to listen, offering advice that was thoughtful and considerate. One evening, as the sun began to set, a young squirrel named Sam approached the great oak, looking troubled. He had been struggling with a decision and didn't know what to do. "Oliver," Sam called up to the branches, "may I speak with you? I need your advice." Oliver hooted softly and glided down to a lower branch, where he could see Sam more clearly. "Of course, Sam," Oliver replied. "What's troubling you?" Sam took a deep breath and explained. "I've been gathering acorns for the winter, but I found a hidden stash that belongs to another squirrel. I don't know who it belongs to, and I'm tempted to take some because I don't have enough. But I know it's not right. What should I do?" Oliver listened carefully, his wise eyes never leaving Sam. After a moment, he spoke. "Sam, you're right to consider the consequences of your actions. Taking what doesn't belong to you, even when it's tempting, can lead to regret. I advise you to leave the stash as it is and continue gathering your own acorns. If you do your best, you'll find that you have enough to get through the winter." Sam nodded, feeling a sense of relief. "Thank you, Oliver. I know you're right. I'll do as you say." With renewed determination, Sam scurried off to continue his work, grateful for Oliver's wise counsel. Scene 2, The Troubled Fox. A few days later, as the moon cast its silvery light over the forest, a young fox named Fiona approached the great oak. Fiona was known for her cleverness, but lately she had been feeling lost and uncertain. "Oliver," Fiona called up, her voice filled with concern, "I need your advice." Oliver, who was awake and watching the stars, flew down to meet Fiona. "What's on your mind, Fiona?" he asked, his tone gentle and welcoming. Fiona hesitated before speaking. "I've always been independent, and I like solving problems on my own. But recently, I've been feeling lonely. I see the other animals forming close friendships, and I'm not sure how to connect with them. I'm afraid they might not accept me because I've always kept to myself." Oliver listened intently, understanding Fiona's dilemma. "Fiona," he began, "it's natural to want to connect with others. Friendship is a gift that enriches our lives, but it requires trust and openness. Start by reaching out to others in small ways, offer help when you can, share a kind word, and be yourself. True friends will appreciate you for who you are." Fiona looked thoughtful. "I've never tried reaching out before, but I think you're right. I'll give it a try." Oliver smiled warmly. "Remember, Fiona, building friendships takes time, but it's worth the effort. Don't be afraid to take that first step." With a newfound sense of purpose, Fiona thanked Oliver and set off into the night, determined to open her heart to the possibility of friendship. Scene 3, The Confused Rabbit. One crisp autumn morning, a rabbit named Rosie came hopping toward the great oak tree, her eyes filled with worry. Rosie had always been cautious and careful, but lately, she had been faced with a decision that left her feeling overwhelmed. "Oliver," I need your advice, Rosie said as she reached the base of the tree. Oliver, perched high above, swooped down to land beside Rosie. What's troubling you, Rosie? He asked, his voice full of empathy. Rosie sighed. I've been offered a new burrow in a different part of the forest. It's a great opportunity, but I'm scared to leave the home I've always known. I'm not sure if I should stay where I'm comfortable or take the risk and move to a new place. Oliver considered Rosie's words carefully. Change can be frightening, Rosie, he said, but it can also lead to growth and new experiences. Ask yourself what you truly want. Do you want to explore new possibilities, or do you prefer the safety of the familiar? There's no right or wrong choice, but it's important to follow your heart. Rosie nodded slowly, the weight of her decision beginning to lift. I think I'd like to try something new, even though it's scary. Maybe it's time for a change. Oliver smiled, pleased with Rosie's resolve. Trust yourself, Rosie. Whatever you decide, know that you have the strength to make it work. With Oliver's guidance, Rosie felt more confident in her decision. She thanked the wise owl and bounded off to prepare for her new adventure, excited for the possibilities that lay ahead. Scene 4, The Wisdom Shared. As the seasons changed and the forest continued to flourish, more and more animals sought Oliver's advice. They knew that the owl's wisdom was a precious resource, and they valued his ability to listen and provide guidance without judgment. One evening, as Oliver sat in the great oak tree, reflecting on the many animals he had helped, he was visited by a group of forest creatures, Sam the squirrel, Fiona the fox, Rosie the rabbit, and many others. They had all come to thank Oliver for the wisdom he had shared with them. Oliver, Sam began, speaking on behalf of the group, we're all so grateful for the guidance you've given us. Your advice has helped us make important decisions, and we've grown because of it. Fiona nodded in agreement. You've taught us the value of trust, friendship, and following our hearts. We're better because of you. Rosie added, and you've shown us that even when we're scared or unsure, we can find the strength within ourselves to do what's right. Oliver looked at the animals with pride and affection. Thank you, my friends, he said, his voice warm and sincere. I'm honored to have been able to help you. Remember that the wisdom you seek is often already within you. I'm here to guide you, but trust yourselves and each other, and you'll always find your way. The animals smiled, knowing that Oliver's words were true. They had learned that the gift of guidance was not just about receiving advice, but also about growing, learning, and becoming wiser themselves. As they left the great oak tree that evening, the animals felt a deep sense of gratitude for the wise owl who had helped them navigate their challenges. They knew that they could always count on Oliver for guidance, but they also understood that they were growing stronger and wiser with each passing day. Moral of the story: good advice can guide us through difficult decisions, but it's also important to trust ourselves and grow from our experiences. Wisdom is not just about seeking answers but also about learning and becoming wiser in the process.